The lesson as we stopped over there that Mr. Hamel told that this is the last day, the last lesson over there, and now they have to study in French. Some another teacher will come. So continuing from page number 5, second paragraph. While I was thinking all of these, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite, to say one after another. It was his turn, his name was called. What would I do not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule of the participle all through very loud and clear and without one mistake? I think so little bit of confusion regarding this thing if you are going through a textbook then. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for participle all through very loud and clear and without one mistake? But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. He stood up, he was giving the question as he knew that today there is a turn of participle and he had to explain participle. He was in such a critical condition that he stood up, he just uttered some word. And before that he thought how it could be if I gave a proper answer and there was lots of appreciation and this all thing. As a child, as a student, this all happens regarding us. Even me too. Whenever I used to meet my teachers, I used to go them and whenever they used to just share some their words, that precious word till today. As a calm student, I used to hear them. And if they question some typical, even I used to frighten over that. And today my 7-year-old girl is asking me, 6-year-old younger daughter is asking me typical question, then I am shivering. That what to give. I am frightened over that. So, he gave some word and his heart beatings. It was struggling too fast and he was in a fearful dilemma. I heard M. Hamel say to me, I won't scold you. Little friend, you must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, bah, I have plenty of time. I will learn it tomorrow. Very good answer. Very good answer by the teacher. The teacher say, oh little friend, don't be afraid. You must say to yourself. While you are going through a mirror, you ask your question to yourself. Am I okay today? What I have to do? I am not delivering this lecture just like that of the motivational speaker used to say. Just for your information. Whatever here it is written, I am just delivering the same thing in my own style. Ask yourself, here it is the same thing. No matter if you don't know. Ask yourself, you can do tomorrow. Yes, every day ask. Not today, 100% tomorrow, but you have to implement these all things. So, every day we have said to ourselves, I have plenty of time, I will learn it tomorrow. And now, you see where you have come out. That's a great trouble with Alsaki. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say you, how is it? You pretend to be Frenchmen, and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language, but you are not the worst poor little friends. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. It's the same system told by M. Hamels. He told that okay, you will say I will do tomorrow, and you will not do. But what will be the condition? When the German language will be in compulsory, you have to go through this language compulsorily. They won't let you go. If you will say why I don't know, I will do tomorrow, they won't say why you will do tomorrow. And you can understand till then you were learning in French. And now the language has been changed. What will happen to you? Mr. M. Hamel wants him we can say, but in a sweet manner. That what will you do? What will happen the next time? Then we have all agreed to reapproach ourselves with, but we have to reapproach with this thing. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills, so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lesson? And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? He used to say to little friends, that your parents, they don't want you to learn anything. As we are facing problem in India too. There are lots and lots, millions and millions of children, instead of going to school, having education, they are still working in fields and many areas over there. Lots of child laborers we are facing this problem in India because of the critical situation of a particular family. So here he says that your parents are not anxious enough to have you learn. They prefer to put you to work on a farm or at the mills, so as to have a little more money. And he told himself, I have been to blame also. And I have to blame myself. What? Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lesson? It is my mistake, he used to, M. Hamel says, that I made you to go to water my plants. And when I wanted to go fishing, do I not just give you a holiday? I gave you a holiday. Then from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it, because when people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had key to their prison. Now he goes to the language. He is a teacher, obviously, and he used to go with his mother tongue. He appreciates French language. He told, if you are imprisoned, if you are in jail, then also don't go through the Germany. Love your language, because wherever you will go in France, as it was France, you must talk in French language. Then he opened a grammar and read over us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. And all he said seemed so easy, I think too that. Now he opened the grammar book, he explained something. And at this moment you can say that, you can imagine that. Friends, he knew everything. He can understand in very well situation, because the scenario has been changed. First of all, he don't want to go to school. He don't like school because of something. Some grammars, the questioning of the teacher. But today, the whole thing changed. He want to learn something, and he have already grasped it from the teacher. He liked this thing. I had never listened so carefully, and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. And today, earlier we can say, he had never taught like this, and I have never learned like this, he says. It seems almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away, and to put it all into our heads at once. How it was looking that the poor man, means Mr. Hamel, the teacher, he wants to give everything to the students, because now he is going to leave. Everything, whatever knowledge he got, he want to give them. So, and yet here it is written, at the one stroke. At one strike, he wants to give to the students. France also gave Sorry. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, and Hamel had new copies for us written in a beautiful round hand. Calligraphy, you might be knowing, all of you. So it's also a particular part of learning, teaching, etc. So now it was the turn of writing, and he gave new papers written in a beautiful form. It was written in France, Alsace. They looked like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the road at the top of our desk. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. So when he gave this thing written in a beautiful handwriting, it seems like that all flags are flowing here and there in the room. Because this time has been changed. This was the last day to learn something in French language. So it seems totally different over there. And what? The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once some battle flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them, not even the littlest ones who worked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was French. Two, on the roof, the pigeon cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German? Even the pigeons, you know the child psychology. How does he feel at that time when he knew that now they are going to learn all the things in Germany? You can just imagine this thing, how tender they are, the children. Even we too have tender mind, tender heart in ourselves. So, and these are children, small children. He thinks that, oh, there comes the pigeon with his voice. And he thought that, will the German make them to study? To make their voice in Germany? What effect does it, the little mind has regarding this? Wars are not ever, as we are moving to the Third World War, but it affects each and everybody. Still today in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we can see what the atom bomb has done. Even till today, the Japanese are not using a single pin made by America. So you can say what a love, what a devotion for their own country. We can also use. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazed first at one thing, then another, as he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. You can see that the mind of the teacher also. If I am going to leave, I would like to say, I will just go a little bit glance, I will roam here and there. When I left my first school, in each and every class I went, I can't talk with the children yet, teacher at that time. I was a sentimental fellow. No doubt I visited each and every class, nursery classes also where I never used to go. Every class I visited to each and every child, and they came to know that I was going to leave. They all were crying, but I can't cry in front of them. Just a teacher is attached with each and every student. You can understand it. Even I am till today also I am attached with many of my teachers, those who are alive. I used to go there, I used to visit them, I used to talk with them. And today also I am the same student as I was being in the past. So here the teacher used to see all everything, to grasp it and keep in a particular hard disk of mind, we can say in computer language. That thought, that sentimental, that corner, that bench, many things are that we teacher used to do so. Sorry. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. For 40 years you are with a particular place, and now you have to leave these all things. No doubt assets we are living. From a small house we are going to big house. From a small little 2-room room, one room kitchen, we are moving to a big bungalow. But the memories won't close us. Where we have spent our childhood, the whole life. And you can imagine 40 years we have spent it over there. Just like that, only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. The walnut tree in the garden were taller, and the hope vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. You can imagine what will be the situation of a particular person. If your father says that from tomorrow you are going to go in hostel, what will be your condition? But here this teacher has given 40 years, planted many trees, gave knowledge, learnings, everything to his students. He have explained many things, each and every part. 40 years you can just imagine. And now his sister comes and they have to leave tomorrow. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a lesson in history. And then the babies chanted their ba, baby, bo. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. You could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. Ah, how well I remember it, that last lesson. So every stage of children were studying over there. So some boys came from the next room of the alphabetical of French. Everyone were, as we in class, if any small boy or small girl, even we can say that nearby our window some children are playing, some little kids are playing, singing and this all thing. So how happy we feel, it is as humor. We are laughing at that time. But this time, it was a crucial time. They want to laugh, but they cannot laugh because they know that the person that they are having has to move tomorrow, has to leave tomorrow. All at once the church clock struck 12, then the angels. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Persian returning from drill sounded under our windows. And Hamel stood up, very pale in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. My friends, said he, I, but something choked him. He could not go on. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, "We will love friends." I have gone through this condition. As earlier I have mentioned this thing, that I cannot talk to a single child in my school, in my last school, for about, there were 1,200 or more students. And as per my nature, I used to play with them from nursery student to 12th standard student. I used to, I can just express my thoughts. So here also the teacher, he was too much gloomy. He cannot, he wanted to say something, but he couldn't. When the clock struck, it was time to go for the school. Now he has to go, he was to close the school. Now everyone has to go to their homes. But what happened? The teacher wanted to say something, but he couldn't. There was no voice from his throat. So he wrote on the blackboard something. What? In a big handwriting he wrote, "We will love friends." Then he stood up and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture to us with his hand. "School is dismissed, you may go." What a typical condition. He can't say anything. He wrote, "We will love France." It means France, long live France. He wrote like this. And then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall. He prayed. he bowed his head. बो किया उसने, मान सम्मान दिया फ्रेंड्स को. And without a word he made gesture to us with his hand, and in spite of saying something he gave the action. Just so we can say that school is dismissed, you may go. Further, what happens whenever the time is over, he used to say, okay, go. And after leaving school, the happiness of leaving school, oh, can't imagine. We cannot